Alrighty, good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is having a great night. Welcome to the House of Health section of the open house, and this is for health science non-degree programs. I will also share programs that are not directly in the allied health area, but to have some options that may interest you or classes that you may be looking for. So my name is Samantha Bray. I am the Director for Health Science Non-Degree Allied Health Programs. So we had some programs that were in our department in general, and then some were moved around, but I still like to present the information here for you. And feel free to, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat, or we can do questions at the end, very flexible with that. So the medical programs that we have Central Sterile Processing Technician, Clinical Research, Dental, Billing and Coding, EKG, Group and Personal Trainer, Imaging, Massage Therapy, Medical Scribe, Neuro, Nurse Aid, Pharmacy, and Phlebotomy. So our class formats, we have a mixture of these. They can be all seated, so all the hours are completed in a in-class setting. It can be online where all the hours will be completed via Moodle or Blackboard. Most of our classes, if not all, are now in Blackboard, so it'll likely be there. And you're going to be learning at your own convenience, and there are no meeting times. And then we also have classes that are hybrid or blended, and those hours will consist of seated hours and online hours. So you would have an in-person component and online work in Blackboard. Most of our classes, if not all, lead to industry recognized credentials. So you would take a class with us, and then typically that makes you eligible to take the certification exam. I will go over one of the exams that you have to have more experience or a degree in, but the class would prepare you. So we will go over those, but for the most part, most of our classes lead to an industry recognized credential. So some additional information. These ranges have gone up. Some of our supply fees have gone up due to the cost of supplies, but the typical range that we see is $180 to $250. And then potential additional costs for the class materials. So like your books, if you need any additional supplies for the class, some of the fees are already built into the course when you pay at registration, but there may be some additional costs, especially if you have a clinical component to your class. And you can complete your course or courses between 2 months to 12 months. We do have financial assistance available that will cover the tuition and fees. So the fees that you would pay at registration, you can either self-pay and then apply when the form is open, or if you need to wait for the form to open, our next one will open on November 1st. And you will be able to apply, and if eligible, someone in WCE Financial Assistance and Student Resources would contact you and would go over that process and get you registered for an available class. So where do you start? So this is the most important part sometimes, where if you don't have a class that's posted yet that may be available, these are some good starting points or for you to take at some point in the time when you're ready at Wake Tech. So we have medical terminology, and we just added intro to anatomy and physiology. And these are prerequisites for subclasses or just a great foundation for any medical class. Career exploration classes. Our career services department offers several career exploration classes, and typically they are at no cost to those that are unemployed. And then also, many of our classes require BLS for the healthcare provider. That's basic life support for healthcare provider. CPR, and it has to be through the American Heart Association. Some classes, I believe the personal trainer requires the Heart Saver, but you can, when you're taking the course, the instructor sends out that information. But most of them, and most for your medical classes, is going to be the BLS for healthcare provider. So again, required for some classes or for the certification exam. So the website, and I'll put these in the chat as well. Give me 1 second. And so that's careerservices.waketech.edu. And then for the CPR, cpr.waketech.edu. So got that in the chat for everyone. Alrighty, so into the classes that we offer, we will go through these individually, and then we will have, again, some questions at the end, ones that you have. So we have a good amount of participants tonight, so I want to make sure that we have enough time for our question and answers. So central sterile processing technician is a high demand career field that offers multiple employment opportunities. I see frequently on LinkedIn about our local hospitals in the Raleigh area hiring, as well as the surrounding areas. So we know that this is a high demand field that we're trying to help bring up the job market with. So in this class, you would learn primary responsibilities of being a central sterile processing technician, the practical application of learned concepts, and then furthermore, sterilization, disinfection, storage, and distribution of instruments, inventory management, quality assurance, and more. And then also prepares you to work for places behind the scenes in a hospital or sterile processing facilities. So our instructors that teach this class work at a facility, and one worked previously at a hospital. Some positions are non-certified and certified, so just look for that when you are looking at positions in this field. Clinical research. This is a great fact to know. The Triangle area of North Carolina is the world headquarters for clinical research activities. So we have 2 classes. We're adding a third as well. That'll be a new course that we're offering in the spring. But the 2 that we primarily have are Healthcare Clinical Research Specialist, covers the clinical research as well as how to structure and execute a clinical trial, navigate regulatory requirements, and collect and analyze clinical trial data. So if you're really good with numbers, it's a great field to enter. And the monitoring clinical trials goes a little bit further into that and includes requirements for monitoring how to conduct a site visit and how to report findings to sponsors. So a lot of times you'll see that you have to have funding for clinical trials. So they want to see results and excuse me, what that report looks like. This is the certification exam that either requires 5 years of full-time experience or a mixture of a degree and some experience. So this is a class that would prepare you if you meet the criteria for that certification exam. Dental. So we have several dental classes, excuse me, that are open to the public. And then we also have a dental assisting program that we co-offer these classes with, and they have a certificate program that if you wanted to further your education. So we have intraoral dental radiography, orthodontic chairside dental assisting skills, infection control for the dental professional, and Spanish for the dental professional. And then we're in the process of adding several more classes. So if you're interested in dental, we have a lot to offer with that. And then our 2 newest ones are the infection control and Spanish. And I will copy, see if I can copy it over, that serve list. If you scan that QR code, it will take you to where you can put your, it's not letting me grab it from there. I will add it in at the end. We're doing our question and answer for all of you, but that will add you to the interest list for these classes. And then also if there's any openings for the dental assisting side for the certificate program, you'll be also maybe receive information for that as well. Dental billing and coding, and then on our next slide, we'll cover medical billing and coding. So both are in very high demand. This program, this two courses are specifically for dental. We have dental terminology and focuses on procedures, services, techniques, materials, and dental diagnoses. This is very important, also with the medical, when you have statements that come in and there may be errors on there, this will help you understand the terminology in several specialties as well as like dentist office. And then further into the billing and coding breaks down the cycle, the revenue process, and then also dental insurance types, verification, breakdowns, estimates, and like I said, how to avoid errors when filing dental claims. Medical billing and coding, also very similar. The program outline, you'll either need to take medical terminology, or if you've already taken it,
I'm on the phone.
you do not have to retake it. You can simply go into the medical billing and medical coding classes. We do recommend medical billing prior to medical coding. So that way it has a strong foundation for coding. And then also the CPC exam has billing questions on it. So this is when I say up to like a 12-month time frame. These 3 classes would take about a year. Also, again, prepares you to help accurately locate documentation in the patient record to support the coding process and assign codes and diagnosis and procedures. So these classes have some books that are with it and can be a little pricey, but they are books that you would use in that profession. And then also how to submit medical charges to the insurance companies and manage every aspect of the medical insurance claim process. EKG technician. So students must be proficient in the English language, and that's for our other classes as well. Medical terminology is recommended prior to taking EKG, but not required. And then to take the certification exam, you would have to have a high school diploma or equivalency. So it's not required for the class, but you would need it in order to take the exam. And some things that you'll learn, the anatomy and physiology of the heart. And some of these you'll hear a few times for different courses that are kind of standard for medical classes. Also, principles of the EKG, heart rhythms, heart blocks, bundle branches, and then how to operate the EKG equipment. Fitness trainer. So we have 2 classes that we're currently offering, the personal trainer and group fitness trainer, and that is through the American Council of Exercise. So you'll learn how to integrate models for design fitness programs based on the client's health, fitness level, and goals. Then a class that we hope to offer in the future that one of our adjuncts on the health and fitness side wanted to offer is integrated prevention-based system for personal trainers, coaches, and fitness professionals. So it could be anybody in the fitness area or clients that maybe like for physical therapy or like chiropractors. And the performance that will focus on common presence of pain, dysfunction, and injuries. Intro to Medical Sonography. This is a great class to take if you're looking at the sonography program on the degree side. Upon successful completion of this course, you would be able to receive competitive points towards the competitive entry to that program. Topics that include in the course: applications, terminology, history, patient care, ethics, basic skills, and preliminary scanning techniques. Also, a high school diploma or equivalency is required to register for this class, primarily because the class is set up to try to set students up for the degree program, which would require the high school diploma or equivalency. Massage therapy, we offer this as more of a full-time program during the day. We are looking in the future to having different options for offerings. but it's broken up into two classes, part 1 and part 2. And in the first part, the topic is massage therapy, Swedish massage, seated massage, anatomy, physiology, and pathology, law, ethics, and therapeutic relationship. Then you would move on to learn additional massage techniques in part 2, sports massage, hydrotherapy, kinesthesiology, I always mispronounce that word, deep tissue and trigger point massage, prenatal and infant massage, geriatric massage, Eastern body work, student practices, and then what's great, this is where you'll also put to practice your skills that you've learned in the class in the student clinic, and then you'll also review to take the certification exam and do practice. Nancy Harrell is the program director for that program. I will put her email in the chat as well. And you would email her to get the process started. This is one of the programs that you would have to be accepted into the program. So there's information online as well for that. Get her email in here. So you would attend an orientation, and that will be the starting process for those courses. Let me double check her email because I think I may have a typo. Give me 1 second.
It's actually on the phone.
Okay. All right, so I put that in the chat. So it's Nancy Harrell, Neharrell. Medical Scribe, this is one of our newer classes that we were able to offer this past year, and I've had really good success with. Medical terminology is a prerequisite. You'll learn how to chart physician-patient encounters during medical examinations or procedures. And then also you'll assist physicians and patients by locating needed information or completing forms. I'm seeing a lot more of medical scribes in the profession, even at doctor's offices or at the hospital. Neuroanatomy and physiology. So this focuses on the brain. So it covers the anatomy and physiology of the nervous system and disease that it affects. Some topics that includes are anatomy and physiology of neuron, brain, spinal cord, cranial nerves, and neurovasculature. So anything to do with the brain. This class also, upon successful completion of the class, will articulate into credit for our neurodiagnostic program. So it would be one class that you could take with us on the non-degree side. And then if you go into their program, it will be accepted as credit. Nurse aid. So nurse aid is not a part of the allied health part of the health sciences, but I do like to include it because it's a very popular class that people are interested in, and also is a prerequisite for some of our degree programs. So you may hear it in lay terms as a certified nursing assistant. And this will introduce you to basic nursing skills, the BLS for healthcare provider CPR that I mentioned earlier. You do have to purchase a Castle Branch package, and included with that package is the drug test, background check, and immunizations documentation tracker. And in order to take the certification exam, you must have a social security number, and your ID must match the social security card. Pharmacy, these are some newer classes that we are trying to offer. So we have Introduction to Pharmacy for Pharmacy Technician, and this provides introductions to pharmacy practice and the technician's role. And topics include medical terminology and abbreviations, drug delivery systems, law and ethics, prescription and medication orders, and the healthcare system in general. And then sometimes we see that students do not have a strong math component or are not as inclined or not good with math. So we do provide a pharmacy calculations class that will help with system measurement and the calculations used in pharmacy practice, and also properly prepare a medication order. Phlebotomy. So if you are not good with blood or the sight of blood, this may not be a class for you, but it is a class that we offer. I do have a comment in the chat. Do you need to be vaccinated to take the course? So for nurse aid and phlebotomy, I can pull the list up on our website that's required. But in order to go to the clinical sites, you would have to have proof of vaccination. So we can go over those and take a look at them. Some of them you may have gotten as a child. Some people, if you're from another country, may not have gotten them or a portion of the series. So we have people that will get them while they're taking the class, but it has to be uploaded and submitted and approved before your clinical. I think it's 2 weeks before clinicals for both programs. So for phlebotomy, collect blood specimens from patients for laboratory tests. They use a lot of phlebotomists to do COVID testing. There's several other tests that a phlebotomist may run and collect for it to be ran at the lab. Must be 18 years or older and have a high school diploma or equivalency. BLS for healthcare provider CPR. Physical and immunizations, also other documents that we have in Castle Branch as well. The medical terminology and intro to anatomy and physiology, you may see it listed as AMP, will be beneficial prior to the class. And some upcoming classes that we hope to offer will be disability support specialist, mental health technician, community health worker, that will be offered in English and bilingual for English, Spanish. Medical interpreter, also English and bilingual, Spanish, English. And then we also have more to come as the community or our community partners see a demand in what they need. So I will put these in the chat during our Q&A, but for the health science non-degree, allied health department, WCE medical certifications at waketech.edu. Phone number 919-747-0140. So that is the department that I work with. So you may, if you email or call, you may get me, you may get one of our staff members. Everybody is happy to help you. For nurse aid, it's nurseaid@waketech.edu. Phone number 919-747-0120. And then for CPR, Gabby Robinson is the contact person, gdrobinson@waketech.edu. And her phone number is 919-866-5399. You also can visit CE Health, as in health sciences.waketech.edu. And I'll also put that in the chat as well. Do we have any questions? And I will pause here. You can unmute in the chat, and I'll also put this information in the chat box as well and pull up the immunization information that someone previously asked for. So we have a hand raised. You can unmute and ask your question.
Yes, hello, my name is Hasina, and my question about the medical interpreter classes. So I can see it's upcoming classes. Should we wait, or there is a date when they will start?
So for the medical interpreter class, we have not developed it yet, but it is one that is very in demand. People are asking for that, and it's also very helpful for like our pharmacy students to
Yes.
making sure that people can accurately translate, but ours would we would primarily focus on English and Spanish because that's what the need is for one of our departments. And then we would kind of develop from there as we see a need for other languages. The Raleigh area and even surrounding Wake County and surrounding counties, we have a lot of people that speak different languages. So it's very important that we have people that can translate.
So I can see as a community health worker, a health navigator, I can see like the Pashto, Dari, Russian languages, they also require it. And until I'm waiting for this class to start, what should I take? Can I go with the medical terminology at least?
Absolutely. So medical terminology, intro to anatomy and physiology is a maybe, just kind of depending if you wanted to go a little bit further into that terminology, but medical terminology would be the first start. So I'm going to put the website to our classes in the chat. So that way, all the information that we covered tonight, you can visit it. The short URL is cehealth.waketech.edu. And then let me see, I got a few questions in the chat that I'll grab real quick. Respiratory therapy, we do not have non-degree classes for respiratory therapy. However, we are in the process of offering a degree program. So let me see if I can grab that information as well. Try to be your catch-all for what questions you may have, or at least get you in the right direction. So here is the respiratory therapy link. They're all going to be in the chat. Okay, respiratory therapy. And then as we develop that degree program, there may be a need for the non-degree side. All right, EMT. EMT falls under our public safety. So that's why I typically don't cover it, but happy to get you that link.
He was sick.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So, hey, my name is Elmondo, and I'm currently taking intro to healthcare right now at Wake Tech, and I have 3 options. Did you speak about medical assistant?
So we do not offer a medical assistant class through non-degree, but we do have a degree program that is for medical assisting. Medical scribe kind of falls under that category. The instructor that teaches the medical scribe class is a full-time instructor for medical assisting.
Do you have it in a diploma?
Let me look. Like I said, I'm not as familiar with the degree side, but again, happy to get you in the right area.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So just at a quick glance. So yes, the let's see, looks like there is a medical assisting diploma and a degree.
All right.
So
who can I contact for that?
I will put it in the chat for you.
All right. Another question. So for phlebotomy, is there any certificate that I need to get for phlebotomy?
So that's a class that you can simply register and pay. We actually just posted a class earlier this week. So you would get a certificate of completion, and then that is successfully completing our program is what would make you eligible to take the certification exam.
Oh, okay. Makes sense. All right. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Medical billing and coding. I'm technically your contact person. I will put our information in the chat as well as the other contact information for the other programs. And thank you for being patient with me as I copy and paste things into the chat so everybody gets the information that they're looking for. I know we have a lot of people on tonight, so I appreciate your patience. Okay, let's see, make sure I don't miss anybody. All right, so I put the program, so it's cehealth.waketech.edu is the direct website, and that is in here. Biotechnology, those are in a separate department. So let me grab that. So for biotechnology, I've added the link in the chat. Okay. For these courses, do you then leave with a certification? So most of the classes are, you'll get a certificate of completion, but that is what would make you eligible to take the certification exam. So some of them you can take if you have experience in the field, but some of them do require some type of class in order for you to take the certification exam. Very good questions, by the way. EMT, I put the link in there as well. They offer classes, so EMT has classes that they offer on the non-degree side, so continuing education, as well as have a degree program. Pharmacy, so I will talk to the department head for the pharmacy courses to see when the instructors are available for those classes. A lot of our instructors teach full-time for their program areas on the degree side and then teach for us part-time, either online or in the evening or weekends. If you want more information about the pharmacy degree program, I'll put that in here as well.
May I ask a question, please?
Sure, go ahead.
For the medical interpreter or for the medical terminology, when is the next registration? Next semester will start, so we will be ready for it.
So the medical terminology class, there is one already posted. You can find that under the medical billing and coding page. And you can simply register and pay online. If it gives an error, you may just need to register in person at a Wake Tech campus.
Is there a financial aid to apply for it?
So you can apply for Propel when the form opens. They're changing the criteria for classes that they're offering, so I don't know if it will be covered. In the past, it has been covered because it is a prerequisite for some of our classes. So I'll put the link for financial assistance in here as well. That is a great question.
For phlebotomy, who can I contact?
It would be me. So if you have any questions, or I'll put the email, the department emails in here as well. So you can email the Allied Health WCE medical certifications at waketech.edu. You also can go to the cehealth.waketech.edu and click on the phlebotomy tab and get all the information there. And I didn't forget about the documentation that we need to look at, so I will pull that up here in a second. Medical terminology.
You can just send it in here for the phlebotomy, so I can just click it on it.
Give me 1 second.
The nurse assistant, how long is that course?
So it can vary. It can be as short as 2 months, and I've typically seen the longest about 6 months if they run twice a week or in the evening. No, it is a blended class, or it's all in person. If you do a blended class, only 28 hours of the 168 hours are online. The vast majority is in person because of the lab and the skills that you have to perform and be checked off on.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, so medical terminology, again, is on the cehealth.waketech.edu and falls under the Allied Health Program. There is another department that offers a medical interpreter training. So someone, Maribel included that in the chat. Thank you, Maribel. So that one would probably cover multiple languages, whereas when we develop ours in our department, it would focus on English and Spanish. As of right now, for medical terminology, we have one class posted. We are in the process of posting more classes for all of our classes. Typically, we start offering in January or February, depending on instructor availability. So we will have more posted, but there is one that has plenty of seating available. What classes for nursing are available? So for nurse aid, there are a few. I think there's a few. Let me double check. They fill up very fast. So right now there is one class that has some seating available for nurse aid. For nursing, so if you're looking for the degree program, I can grab that link as well. That is a very competitive program to get into. So let me get that information for you. And nurse aid, I did say that it is a prerequisite for some of the degree programs. Nursing, I believe it's radiography and sonography are the ones that are prerequisites. Okay, I think I'm almost, okay, got that. Which classes are online? So most of the ones that I talked about tonight are all online at your own pace. I can tell you the ones that are not, so that may be a little bit easier to name. So EKG is blended, has a weekly meeting time. The instructors typically one teaches a weeknight or the other one teaches on a Saturday. And then nurse aid is in person, phlebotomy is in person. And central sterile processing is the vast majority is online, but there is one in-person meeting night to go over the content that you've learned in Blackboard. Alrighty, I think Maribel included the link for the medical terminology classes. Medical coding, again, we're in the process of getting one posted. We should have one posted by the end of the week. Do certifications vary from state to state? For example, can a certificate in phlebotomy in North Carolina be applied for someone who wants to do this in California? So some of them are, they're, again, I said industry recognized credentials, so they should be able to go to other states, but that depends. So like for nurse aid, it does not always transfer to other states. You have to look at what the requirement is to get that listing in that state. So that might be some research to do for that. For some of our classes, typically they should be equivalent in that state. So I would just do a little bit of research if you're moving or maybe in that area later in life. MLT program offered evening classes, or is it all during the day? So MLT is separate from phlebotomy. That's medical laboratory technologies. So I will include that, but the phlebotomy class is offered during the day. And we do have one that is majority in the evening, but when it's time for the clinicals, it is during the day. We're working on trying to get some evening clinical sites, but they are vastly understaffed, as well as a lot of healthcare positions. All right, where are the registrations for the class? So if you go to cehealth.waketech.edu, and I put the link in the chat as well, and click on which area you'd like to register for. So like for sterile processing, you would click on Central Sterile Processing Technician and scroll to the bottom of the page to see current offerings. And that's the same for our other areas as well. And do you require a certain high school GPA to get into your courses? So the great thing about our non-degree courses, you can simply register and pay. There's no GPA requirement. That is a requirement or potential requirement for the degree side and maybe particular programs. So certain programs may have a minimum GPA that you have to meet for individual programs. Okay, yeah, someone commented about nurse aid. New York, but didn't transfer when they moved, so I need to take the class over. So I would contact the, I think it's DHHS to see if it would transfer or what that looks like. You may have to retake the class to get the listing in North Carolina. Again, nurse aid does not fall under the Allied Health Program, but I do like to talk about it because I know it's a very popular interest. For EMT, I put the information, the website in the chat, so you can check that out. Again, it's not under our program. Yes, you would, when you register for a class, whether it be on the degree or non-degree continuing education, you will receive a Wake Tech email. If it doesn't automatically generate one for you, you could just email the contact person or the department contact information for that program to get assistance with activating that. Medical coding, again, we'll have one posted by the end of the week. It would be possible to email links from the conversation. I can see if we can send out the links that are in the chat. I will talk to the people that set up the open house to see if we can get these links sent out for you. But the main link that you can get to most of everything in here is cehealth.waketech.edu. And you can also use the search function on our Wake Tech website. And if needed, also using a search browser of your choice, Wake Tech, and then what program you're looking for. Clinical research, what are entry-level options in this field? Completed healthcare research specialist in June, but can't find a job in the field. So that is one where you may have to have a degree or combined experiences. You can reach out to our career services department to maybe see if they have more insight regarding that field or how maybe you can get some experience. Also, they do a great job helping with your resume, cover letter, LinkedIn, mock interviews, things of that sort. I'll also get there. And I would say use this for any class, or if you're just trying to get more information, very beneficial to use. I've used them in the past as well to help with my cover letter and resume. Thank you, Maribel, for helping with some of the links. Maribel put the workforce training link in there. That will take you to the classes for everybody, or you can click on the career cluster that you're interested in. We do not have financial aid for nurse aid or sterile processing. That's financial assistance, or you may hear it called as Propel, which is our initiative. So when the form opens, you can apply for financial assistance, and if you're eligible, they would determine eligibility, and someone in that department would register you for an available class.
So we should just check when the financial aid available and when the forms open, right?
Yeah, for financial assistance, and it will open on the 1st.
Okay.
Do they place you after you complete the nurse aid program course? We do not do placement. That is something that you would do on your own, but we do work very closely with career services to make sure if people are looking for jobs. There are, I'd say, a huge demand for nurse aides. We get a lot of people that email flyers for whether they need someone one-on-one with someone at their house, on nursing homes, senior living facilities, the hospital. So it really just depends on what kind of what area that you want to work in. And not a problem asking all these questions. That's why we cover the information and leave a lot of time for the question and answer. All this training needs a high school diploma. The ones that you'll need a high school diploma or equivalency for, EKG and phlebotomy, and then also the intro to medical sonography because of their information. Okay, I have one question, and then people that have their hand raised, feel free to ask your question while I grab the radiography. We don't have a radiography for the non-degree side, but we do have an associate's degree program for it. If you have your hand raised, go ahead. For sterile processing, again, we don't do placement in our department. The career services department, they don't necessarily do placement, but there are, when we find that people are looking for jobs, we post it in the Blackboard shells as well as give that information to career services for them to post in Handshake, or these facilities or hospitals may contact our career services department to post their options. Another great tool is using LinkedIn. I've connected with some of our local hospitals and I see postings all the time for sterile processing technicians. So a lot of these fields, you may be able to connect with people on LinkedIn and see what their offerings are, or just going to their websites. All right, I see 2 hand raised. I may have answered the questions, but if you do have a question, feel free to unmute to ask your question.
I got a question, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I don't know if someone's going first. Okay, so my name is Michael. I'm from California. In this regards to actually, I have a 17-year-old that is going to be graduating next year. He's interested in biosciences. What do you think would be a good place to start? Just kind of give him a little guidance. That is the reason why I'm showing up to the school. Yeah, that would be very helpful.
Sure. So probably the biotechnologies or BioWorks links that are in the chat would probably be the first place to start. I'm not as familiar with those programs. Wake Tech offers a wide variety of classes. And so, so the links are in there as well, and can kind of see who the contact person is for those courses, and they can give you some more guidance from there.
Got it. Okay, so I'm sure that I can actually find this information also on the website.
Correct, and like the biotechnology and the BioWorks links are in the chat as well.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. And by the way, I have another question for you. Last question is: are there any accommodations for special needs for any students with special needs?
Sure. So we have a disability support services. That is a great question. So these you'd have the documentation, fill out information with the disability support team, and they would determine eligibility for services, and then they would let the instructor know what those requirements are. So some of the things that we've had in the past were extended test time, a test being read aloud, testing in a separate room. So we've had a few accommodations in our health science classes. So a lot of them are primarily geared towards, like an in-person setting, but like if they needed extended test time, we can extend the time in Blackboard for them as well. So we look at different options or seek guidance of how to stay in compliance with those needs.
Perfect. That is very helpful. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And I see 2 other hands raised. I think one may have asked. Let's see. Okay. Yes, if you need to leave a little early, that is fine. The session's being recorded, so if you need to come back to look for any information, You'll be able to access that online. I do want to share my screen real quick. I'm just going to use the Nurse Aids website because let me get back to the Nurse Aid. They have let's see if the syllabus is on here. We just had an update on our website. Nurse Aid 1 syllabus. Perfect. So I'm a Google person. So that's how I find stuff a lot of times. So if you scroll down, or if you're on our phlebotomy page, this information is in the handbook. So this information is required for clinicals, and Castle Branch is where you'll order that package from. It's a third-party vendor that we, along with several other businesses and companies, use for background check, drug test, and then we have a documentation tracker. So the items needed, proof of insurance. When you get your Wake Tech ID, you would upload it. For phlebotomy, you would just have it and need to wear at the clinical site. We have a physical form that's specific to Wake Tech for what we need for our clinical sites. Copy of your CPR certification, again, must be through the American Heart Association, BLS for healthcare provider, and that has to include the hands-on portion. Background check, it is automatically ran through Castle Branch. If there are things on your background check, you may be asked to write a letter of explanation to be approved by the clinical site. And then if there's any changes in the criminal history, you would need to contact the person for that program. And then also drug screen, there is a form that you would download, find the place in your area that offers the testing. And these are what is tested for. If you have a positive drug test, you may be able to retest or not able to go to clinical. Proof of immunizations, these are all listed. Again, these are some immunizations that you may have had as a child. So MMR, 2 doses, varicella, 2 doses, Tdap, 1, and a booster within the last 10 years. Hep B, 3 doses, or 2 depending on the series. And there is a waiver for that, so you can just download the form, sign, and re-upload it if needed. The flu shot must be within the current flu season if required. Typically, our summer sessions do not require it because it's not available at that time. Tuberculosis, so this is a TB skin test. You'll have to do 2 TB skin tests. So you get one, they read it a week or up to 3 weeks later. You'll get another skin test placed and read and upload proof of both. If you have a positive test, you'll need to get an x-ray, and all that information is there as well. Also, you can do the QuantiFERON Gold blood test. So the program may require additional forms. So like for phlebotomy, there are several documents that we need for accreditation purposes that you would read, sign, and then upload into Castle Branch. And again, those are not Wake Tech requirements. Those are primarily for our clinical sites or accreditation for where our program aligns with. Any other questions before we leave tonight?
No.
The only one, how long will take the medical terminology?
So medical terminology, I believe it's about 15 or 16 weeks. And
15,
then
Mhm.
you could move on to the next series of classes that you need to take. Oh, great question in here. The COVID vaccine, it is no longer required. Some places recommend it, but it's not required. You would either upload proof of the COVID vaccine or sign the declination waiver. Great question.
And some of these things, the school is gonna pay for it, and some of the things we're gonna pay for it, right?
So if you apply for financial assistance and are approved, they will cover the tuition and fees. So the amount that's due at the time of registration. And then you would be required to purchase like the books, the exam fee, additional costs that you may accrue during the class, like for phlebotomy, you may have to pay to park, drive to your clinical site, so additional transportation. I will put one more link in the chat. This is a great resource. We have a care center that will help with resources that you may need help with. So like if you need help with food, they may have food cards, gas, they may have gas cards. We also, if you have public transportation options, there's bus passes you can get. And then also let me put in here if for some of the other items, so like if you needed a laptop, a hotspot, I think it's on the free training page. No, let me see. Here we go. So if you need technology support, there's also for applying for a laptop through Workforce Continuing Education. You can also check out the financial resources and student support page as well. So those are great resources. A lot of these resources are available to any Wake Tech student. So that's really, really exciting, especially a lot of people that come to us maybe unemployed or trying to change careers, maybe lost their job and now trying to enter another field. We have a wide variety of students that come to us and we're able to get them the resources needed to get their education. Yes.
So as a if you want to enter into phlebotomist and then you have a part-time job, are you going to still be eligible for the financial aid scholarship?
So you would apply and they would determine eligibility. But that's typically a lot of it comes to, it will ask you for like demographical information. So maybe like race, gender, ethnicity. Some of the funding sources look at location, so where you live, to determine if you're eligible to get those funds. So that's where they would determine in that department what funds are being used and how to allocate them based off of the criteria. So I don't know specifically to the question, but yes, if you work part-time and you apply and you're eligible, then they will
Yeah.
register you for the course. So it's not like you have to be unemployed to get it. If you apply and they determine eligibility, then you would be able to use those funds
Makes sense.
towards the class. And then also one great thing as well, once you're a Wake Tech student, whether you're a degree on the or degree non-degree side, you can download Microsoft Office. And so you would get softwares or applications like Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Outlook, and a few other Teams that we're on now, and a few other Microsoft applications that are associated with that. Okay, let's see here. They're taking a class at Wake Tech. Okay, yes, good point. If you've never taken a class at Wake Tech before or applied to the college, you may need to fill out a registration form. And then you can either mail in that registration form with payment of check or money order, or you can email it to our department or whichever department that you are looking at taking a class with, and we can email it to the registrar's office. You also can email the registrar's office directly and let them know you've not taken a class at Wake Tech before and need to have your information entered into the system for registration. Yes, perfect. Thank you, Maribel. Maribel put the registration page in there and a lot more information on there as well. That would be regarding the registration or if you need to withdraw, refund from a class, things of that sort. Great questions. Trying to do it in person. Where should I go? Is there a different admission office for continuing education? Yes. So I typically route people to the North Campus building, I believe it's in D on the second floor, and then you would go up to building C to pay. If you go to Southern Campus, it's in building L, and I think there's a workforce continuing education spot on that. I think it's the second floor that you walk in on, could be the first floor. I think it's the second. But someone can help you register and pay there. If you go to the Health Sciences campus, they'll email the registration form in, and then you could pay on their campus as well. There, I believe on that WCE registration page, there may be other locations on there, but those are typically where I recommend people to go because I know the people are there and can do registration at that time. These are really, really great questions. Any campus okay? Yes, typically any campus can assist you, whether it is filling out the form and emailing it to someone to get you registered and paying on that campus. So yes, I would say any Wake Tech campus should be able to assist you or get you to the right place to register. So I will stay on if anybody has any questions. I value your time. Oh, yes, thank you, Maribel. I appreciate Maribel adding in. She is one of my fantastic colleagues at Wake Tech. So I will hang on if you have any other questions. And then again, oh, and thank you, Casey, as well for putting in the registration link. Casey also is one of our other colleagues. So I'll stay on if you have any other questions. Feel free to log off. Again, these sessions will be posted online if you want to review, or you can contact our department if you have additional questions as you think about classes more.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, everyone. Thank you so much and have a great night.
Thank you, you teacher.
Teacher, this class will start on November?
So most of our classes will start in January or February for the health science non-degree classes. For nurse aid, I believe they have some posted that will start in the next, or almost at the end of the year, so November or December, or starting in January as well. Some of the other programs may run a little more year-round. A lot of the allied health classes that we offer in our department, our cutoff is based off of the end of the year because our instructors would like some time off, so we use our winter break as the time off, and that way the students can get some time off as well. So most of our classes for the allied health will start back up in January or February.
Okay, teacher. So it's good that we have time to apply for financial assistance, yeah?
Yes, and so
Okay.
if you apply for the financial assistance, they will, and you're eligible, that's the key part, and you're eligible, they will register you for a class with open seating. We offer these classes all throughout the year, so there is typically not a problem of getting those students in that need financial assistance. Or sometimes in the past, we've created another section so we can get those people in for a class.
Okay, teacher. Thank you so much for that.
You're very
Thank you.
welcome. Alrighty, any other questions?
Hello.
Yes.
Hey, I have a question. Okay, so I'm trying to do nursing. But you also said for like the CNA, I forgot what's it called.
Yes, so nurse aid.
Yes. So you said for that we need a social security number. I'm still having some legal problems. I don't know when I will be getting like my how do I say this? Like my work permission.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have a social security number. Is there like another way that I could like apply for it?
So you can take the class, I believe, but you would not be able to take the exam to get the credential for the listing. But I
Okay.
would reach out to the nurse aid office and
Mhm.
verify that information with them. I think that's the correct information that it's needed for the test. But again, sometimes if you don't have the the documents to take the certification exam, you may want to wait a little bit closer until you have that.
Okay.
Because
Perfect.
you don't want to take the class and then not stay current on those skills when you're testing. So that's another thing that we look at is you want to maintain those skills and continue to use them.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Bye. Thank you, teacher.
You're very welcome. I hope everybody has a great night. I'm going to go ahead and log off, but if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to our department emails or phone lines.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
You're very welcome. I hope everyone has a great night.